This just in, Donald Trump's running mate, Senator JD Vance, has accepted 2 debates against Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Willie, your thoughts?
I think the consensus at the table is we're good with one.
Yeah,
I think in the vice presidential debate seems like plenty.
We woke up this morning with news that JD Vance and Tim Walz, their campaigns, have agreed on a debate. Here's how the audience of Morning Joe got the news.
We end the show with some breaking news. This just in, Donald Trump's running mate, Senator JD Vance, has accepted 2 debates against Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. One on September 18th on CNN and another on October 1st on CBS. We should note that Governor Walz has agreed to the October 1st debate so far. So what happens, but at least we got one on the books. Willie, your thoughts?
I think the consensus at the table is we're good with one.
Yeah,
I think in the vice presidential debate seems like plenty.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that move from journalists on cable news. Yeah, we're fine having less access to candidates. We're fine letting the American voter see less of the people that they want to vote for the highest office in the land. What the hell is that? They think they're funny? Oh, we're fine with just one debate. What happened to being, hungry and interested in more information and more details and more data? No, I think 2 debates is a great idea. One about the economy and domestic policy and one about foreign policy. I think that'd be brilliant. Maybe I'm weird. Maybe I'm not MSNBC worthy. I do love also that MSNBC has to announce on their network that the 2 debates will be happening somewhere else. If there's one great thing about this whole presidential election cycle, it's that we've finally done away with that grotesque punchline of a joint commission on presidential debates, that ridiculous thing that they used to do. Remember? I mean, it was right up until the last presidential election where they had this nonpartisan group of people who were very deadly serious, and they would negotiate the debates on behalf of the 2 campaigns. And no, screw it. The campaigns can negotiate with the networks the way they're doing it right now, and it's fine. It works. We didn't need that fake, phony commission on presidential debates because they would always pick somebody like Chris Wallace to be the moderator, and they were awful. By the way, we're going to get into the details of the debate in just a second, but could I just say, why do teleprompter readers get anointed as the moderators for these debates? They don't have any special gifts. They're not anointed in some way by the gods that they have some sort of brilliant instinct on asking the right questions. They're journalists. They're reporters. They're teleprompter readers. They have no special skills. And they always frame the questions in such a way to make news. Well, I'm not interested in making news if I'm moderating a debate. I'm interested in getting as much information out as possible so the voters can make an informed decision. Isn't that a shocking approach to moderating a debate? Why do we need a moderator? These are grown-ups. Get that center chair out of the room. 2 chairs, 2 podiums, 2 people. Tim Walz gets to ask JD Vance questions. JD Vance gets to ask Tim Walz questions. Guess what? I will judge these candidates not just on their answers, but on how smart they are with the questions they ask their opponent. That's part of the contest here, I think. It's very revealing what you decide to ask your opponent. It tells me what your priorities are. Why can't they do that? Why do they need this third party at all? And certainly don't have it be a reporter because they're in the tank. 95% of them vote Democrat every single time. So it's already a stacked deck. All right, that said, I just wanted to get that off my chest because that's how things ought to be. Look at this weaselly, cowardly move by Tim Walz. I guess we should be used to the cowardly move from Tim Walz now. He announces this. He retweets CBS's announcement of the debate. CBS News, by the way, says they provided the campaigns with 4 dates as options: September 17th, September 24th, October 1st, and October 8th. It's going to happen in New York City. CBS News will host it. And so JD Vance, and they've agreed to one of those dates. Tim Walz tweets this out and says, "See you on October 1st, JD. this is where the cowardly thing. Notice he didn't actually tag him on X. He's such a small man. I mean, listen, I doubt he runs his account, but that's deliberate. That's a deliberate move right there. What a weasel. JD Vance responded, though, and said, the American people deserve as many debates as possible, which is why President Trump has challenged Kamala to 3 of them already. And of course, Kamala has only accepted 1 of the 3. Not only do I accept the CBS debate on October 1st, but I accept the CNN debate on September 18th as well. I look forward to seeing you at both. Tim Walz has not agreed to both. Why? Why? If you're a politician, if you think you're the best candidate, wouldn't you want to do as many debates as possible so you could just pound your opponent into the sand and you can show the world and every single voter how much better you are? Let's go, Timmy. What are you afraid of? If you'd like a preview of how hyped JD Vance is, how he can't wait to get into the ring with Tim Walz, well, we got a little bit of a preview of it this morning. He was in Pennsylvania campaigning, and he had plenty to say about where things are economically and the fact that his opponents, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris, are running and hiding from cameras, hiding from questions, hiding from the debates, and are only making themselves available for scripted events. Take a look at JD Vance.
Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but as the person who's asking the American people for the awesome honor and responsibility of being their vice president, I think I would have to go before the American people and make the case for why I deserve to have that job. And I think it's disgraceful that Tim Walz and Kamala Harris are running from every media interview, running from every reporter. They refuse to respect the American people enough to stand before them and actually ask them for their vote. So I think we ought to do as many debates as we possibly can. I know the President Trump has invited Kamala Harris to do 3 debates. She's only agreed to 1. Tim Walz, I guess we agreed to do a debate on October 1st, but CNN, not exactly friendly to me, much more left-wing than almost any other media station. CNN wants to do a debate in mid-September. And I said, yes, absolutely, because the American people deserve it. And one final point about this. Look, the Harris campaign is not running a political campaign. They're trying to produce a movie. She never stands before the American people without a script. She never talks to voters unless a teleprompter is right in the middle of them. This is not a person who we should trust to sit in a private room with Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin and the leaders of America's, whether they're adversaries or friends. If you are afraid of a friendly media, and the media has been very friendly to Kamala Harris, then how can we possibly trust you to represent us on the world stage? The answer is we can't, which is why we ought to fire Kamala Harris, not give her a promotion.
Oh, man, I cannot wait for these debates. I cannot wait for these debates. So why isn't Tim Walz think about this. Tim Walz has been the running mate choice now for 10 days, and he still hasn't talked to anybody. He hasn't answered a single question from a reporter. And why? Why? Because every single question will be about his lies about his military record. And Tim Walz at this event in Pennsylvania hammered that home. He is ready. Oh, boy, he's going to make sure. I hope every single question he sort of like gives a quick answer to at the debate and then pivots right back to Tim Walz's military record. Take a look at what he had to say about it today.
Let's just summarize the truth. Tim Walz said that he carried a weapon in war. He never went to war. Tim Walz said that he didn't know his unit was about to deploy to Iraq when even his own press release at the time said that he knew exactly that. Tim Walz claimed to be a command sergeant major, even had it printed on his challenge coins, and he knew he never achieved that rank. And now Kamala Harris, showing terrible judgment, has decided that her way out of this political problem is to claim that she and Tim Walz are the victims. I think the victims are the veterans who are having their service disparaged because the guy who wants to be their vice president is lying instead of telling the truth. I think those are the real victims of what Tim Walz has done. Every single person standing with me has sacrificed something for this country. Some of us, like Brian, have sacrificed more than most Americans can possibly fathom. But every single one of us honors every veteran for their service, whether they went to war or not. So long as you did what this country asked you to do, you deserve to be praised for it. You deserve to have what this country promised to you. actually given to you. This is not about disparaging anybody's services, including Tim Walz. This is about disparaging the dishonesty and asking Kamala Harris, why are you showing such poor judgment by standing by a guy who insulted our veterans and lied about his service? If Kamala Harris wants to lead this country, if she wants to lead the millions of active and reserve service members and the millions of veterans on top of it, she ought to stand before the media and answer why Tim Walz lied and why she's now trying to say that he's the victim, that we are somehow attacking Tim Walz's service. That's what Kamala Harris says, that we're attacking his honorable service. We're not attacking his honorable service. We're attacking the dishonesty about that service. That is not honorable. That is the height of dishonor, and Tim Walz should not be the vice president of the United States because of it. God bless you guys. Thank you all.
All right. Now,
Let's just summarize.
As Senator Vance mentioned, he did have other people at this event. You can see the flags are right around him. There's the Marine Corps flag, the U.S. Navy flag. I'm guessing I think that's the Air Force flag behind him, the blue. And then there's the Space Force. I love me some Space Force. Space Force rocks, right? In Pennsylvania, I want to bring you and these veterans who are also running for office had plenty to say about Tim Walz's military career, and again, most importantly, the lies that he has been caught in, blowing up his rank. About the nature of when he left the military service, and the lies in claiming that he was actually serving in war and in combat, which he was not. And all of those things are that there's no fact checking involved in what I just said. Those are all blatant 100% truth. What I just told you about what he's been saying about his military career. But I do want to, there were plenty of people there, but I think this is the most effective. Pat Harrigan, who is a veteran of the military and is currently running for Congress in North Carolina. He was there, and I want you to see his opening remarks here, because this is exactly, it lays out exactly not just who Tim Walz is, but it tells you exactly how veterans of the military feel about him, regardless of political affiliation. And it explains to you why Tim Walz is hiding, why Kamala Harris is hiding, and what this debate, if it even happens, because I'm still skeptical if it will, because it's going to be a buzzsaw in the face for Tim Walz. Exactly what this debate is going to look like if it happens. Watch this.
It's great to be here with our veteran family. I walked around a little bit and talked to a few of y'all, and some of you guys haven't served, and that's great. But to those who haven't served and are watching this now, I can appreciate that you might not understand why America's veterans across the political spectrum are standing up to sound the alarm about Tim Walz. I can appreciate how you might look fondly on his 20 plus years of service in the National Guard. And I understand why it can seem like nitpicking when our veteran community reads his words and we scream stolen valor. I get it, and I don't judge it. Without serving and deploying, I might not get it either. But I'm hoping that at the very least, by the time that I sit down here today, you'll understand why we are so passionate in our united voice that Tim Walz is a coward who betrayed his men at their greatest time of need and is not fit to serve the United States of America as vice president. I want to start by...
That's strong stuff. And I don't know if you have people in your life who are veterans of the military, or maybe they're currently serving, or maybe you are, in fact, either active duty or a veteran. But for a vet who's seen action and has spent time wearing the uniform and fighting for this country, for a vet to stand up and call a fellow veteran a coward, that is putting yourself out there. That is extending yourself and utilizing language that is reserved for a very, very small number of people who wear that uniform. So for this gentleman to stand up there, and he's surrounded, by the way, I see Mike Waltz in that shot, Green Beret Congressman Brian Mast, who lost both legs in combat, up there. This was a a stellar presentation of veterans who know their stuff and are, when you are willing to step out and call someone a coward for his behavior after his military service, that is powerful, powerful stuff. And I want to reiterate this, and I mentioned it yesterday, and I just want to repeat it because I did not serve. We are a military family. I have a child in the service right now. All Tim Walz had to do was retire after 24 years of service in the National Guard, truthfully describe himself as a retired master sergeant, never once allow anybody to believe that he served in Operation Enduring Freedom, because that suggests he was in Afghanistan, but to only have it be said that he was in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. And anytime anyone introduced him otherwise, as a combat veteran, as a person who served in Iraq or Afghanistan, or as a command sergeant major, every single time, and it's happened multiple times, all he had to do was say, I just want to make sure that the record is straight. I did not serve in Iraq and Afghanistan. Have you ever seen any video of him saying that? All he has to do is say, oh, I did achieve rank of command sergeant major, but I did not stay in the National Guard long enough to actually have that locked in, so I have retired as a master sergeant. That is something to celebrate. It's something to be proud of. He had an incredible service record to be proud of, but he lied about it over and over and over again. But if he had been truthful, then the only thing you could criticize of him, and it's still worthy of criticism, but the only thing you could criticize of him was that he left when his unit was being deployed and he decided to retire instead of deploying. And he'd say, you know what, you're entitled to your opinion, but I decided that I could be more effective at my age running for Congress and fighting for my unit, fighting for vets in Congress rather than going to Iraq. And that could be a disagreement, but it wouldn't be stolen valor. It wouldn't be lying about your service. And it wouldn't be this smarmy, sleazy, new aggressive pivot that this blustering bully is doing now. It's like, how dare you criticize my record? How dare you denigrate my service? We're not criticizing or denigrating either thing. We're calling you the liar that you are. That's it. And it could have been so much better for him, but he couldn't do it. He had to lie.